Read Me, Part 3. Let's get straight into that. It was a few days of me relaxing, just taking in the mellow mood that our Cecily, turned sea creature, left me with her musical talents. Cecily also gifted me with a relaxing feeling. It helped with my anxiety in a way I can't explain. I fed Dobie, the fish I confiscated from the magical book, and brought him back to a new tank in my kitchen. I think it was another gift from Cecily. I was just happy I was able to put her soul to rest. I spent all that Saturday setting up the sea salt tank fit with plants. Typically, I took time to set up the tank, but I didn't exactly have time to do that with Dobie. I even got him a few companions to keep him company. And then, a few days later, I was feeding Dobie, admiring a new purple and turquoise blue decor, and I felt a sudden need to cut my wrist. I felt like I was in a trance. I walked over to the kitchen, opening the drawer and pulling out a sharp knife, and I began slicing my arm. I didn't bleed much, but I had this overwhelming depressing feeling coming over me. And then I heard my television pop on, all by itself. It was a news story about a young girl, about 16 years old, that had gone missing. The report was dated 3 years ago. I knew then that it was the book. Dropping the knife, I ran to get a paper towel and some alcohol to clean the wound I created. I heard guns firing lasers and saw a blue light illuminating from the book. I took a big gulp. What was I getting myself into? I opened the book to the murder show, which was the next story I was to read. I took a deep breath. I looked down and I could see a tiny television featuring 2 teenagers playing a video game in a room. It was like I was watching a movie. One of them had short bleach blonde hair, the other had long black hair, and I recognized her as the missing teenage girl from the news that had just been featured on my television. Instead of reading this story, I was watching it. I was hearing her voice inside of my mind, or maybe it was out loud. I couldn't tell anymore. I looked at the pages before me, and they were turning on their own like an old-fashioned picture book, and I watched as the girl and her eyes turned and faced me. She had black hair, dark eyes, and pale skin. She had a black t-shirt on with a ton of bracelets. Her thin face was pretty, but she didn't smile. Instead, I could do nothing except listen to the story titled The Murder Show. My name is Andrea Becker, and as long as I can remember, I wanted to die. I know it sounds strange, but I looked at death as a permanent nostalgic return to your soul. I swear, I'm not a freak. I know I look the part, but don't get me wrong, I am cliché for someone my age. Let me begin by telling you how it all began. When I was 10 years old, my grandparents were visiting from out of town. My grandmother was taking a shower, and when she got out, she screamed for my mother as she was having chest pains. She fell over onto the bathroom floor. The EMTs were in there in record time. Maybe it was slow. I just know it was all a blur. I watched them trying to bring my grandmother back. My grandpa wasn't home. He had gone shopping with my dad, an older brother, and so I had a front row to the tragic end of a woman I had loved so much. And then I knew the exact moment she died. I saw her ghost or her soul, whatever you believe. It floated out of her body and it looked at me. My grandmother's spirit looked at me and smiled, and I knew then everything would be fine. But it wasn't about me. It was about how at peace she was. I longed for that peace. I lost my grandpa a few years later, but my grandmother's death stuck with me. I started reading everything in the end. I knew it wasn't simple science like some claim. You do leave your body when you die. Where you go is anyone's guess. I just know what I saw that day that my grandmother died. I had never considered killing myself. That was too weird. Then, one day, my best friend Carla told me she'd like to cut herself. She showed me her scars on her wrists, and I was taken back by her self-harm. What if you go too deep? I asked her. I have a couple of times, but I have gotten good at stitching myself up. She smirked. Well, doesn't it hurt? I asked her. Yeah, but sometimes it's the only way I can feel things. I just feel like the world gets to be too much sometimes. and I want to escape it. I just don't want to die. And that is when I looked at her. I have always wanted to die, I said, with tears in my eyes. What do you mean? Like kill yourself? No, just be at peace. I feel at peace after I feel that rush. Like I get a rush from the pain for a second and it makes me less. I don't know how to explain it. I get it, I said, and my friend had become my best friend. I never told her, but I started self-harming after that. I had to know if it would give me that peace that I longed for when my grandmother showed me that look in her eyes, like at last she could rest. And sadly, over the next few years, Kyla and I stopped being so close. She started hanging with the posh stuck-up crowd. I still craved death. There was little in common with the mean girl squad. At 17, I had become close friends with a guy named Paul, whom I had a lot in common. And we both enjoyed Mr. Fraser's English class, played tons of video games and enjoyed hacking. Not like professional hacking, just silly stuff like the local websites of our local pizza shop. We hacked into it to say that all the prices had been reduced to 99 cents. Silly kid stuff. We were never caught. Then one day, Paul came over with 2 of his laptops. I have to show you something, he said to me excitedly. You ever been on the dark web? I shook my head. No way. It isn't all weirdos. I buy stupid shit on there like electronics, lots of black market stuff. It isn't all organs and creepers doing things to people. You are messing with those sites, are you? I asked him, concerned. No, I just found one though. I can't tell if they're serious. It's called The Murder Show. What the hell, Paul? No, I have everything blocked. They can't find us. I wanted you to see these comments. Freaked me out. Well, you are on the dark web, Paul, I retorted. Listen, just look at this. Can this be real? I hesitated and then took a look at his laptop and looked at the site. It was a chat room. I read a few of the posts and they talked about murder and the best way to do it. And then I read on. Der786. You ready, Randy? One poster asked. Randy01. Yeah, just don't hurt me too much. Another username responded. Der786. You get that insurance filled out? Randy01. My wife will never want for anything ever again. What the hell? Paul grabbed the laptop. They let themselves be murdered for entertainment. On purpose? Yeah. One guy had cancer and didn't want to live anymore. It even says on a disclaimer that this is the Dr. Kevorkian of murder sites. It is all pity kills. They won't do it to healthy, happy or well-adjusted humans. You must prove you are worthy, and they will do the cleanup, so no one ever finds out. It is real. Turn it off, Paul. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to freak you out. I just thought you would think it was at least interesting. Oh, it's scary and unfortunate, if I'm honest. And then Paul's cell phone rang. Sorry. Mom? Yeah. I forgot. I'm with Andrea. I'm coming. I looked at Paul and he ran out and left. He was gone and I was continuing playing on a new video game that I'd bought with my allowance. I wasn't paying any attention when I heard someone say, I see you. Huh? I said to myself. You there, girl with the black hair. What the hell? And then I realized that Paul had left his stupid laptop on the floor of my bedroom, and it was still on that silly murder site. I peeked over my bed and looked down at the laptop, and just as I was about to close it, the man spoke again. Don't close it yet. You had to come here for a reason. Why don't you tell me what brought you here? I didn't. My friend found it by accident and we weren't interested in the site. That's okay. So, you were curious. Can I answer any of your questions? This was getting way too weird for me. I'm good. I think I get it. Look, I get it. It's real-life dark web shit. I'd want to close the laptop and burn it too. Only I have seen you. How do you know I haven't already tracked your address? How do you know I'm not using facial recognition to figure out exactly who you are, Andrea Becker? He said my name. How did he know my name? I was going to kill Paul. I picked up the laptop and looked at a man who didn't look like a typical widow. He was sitting at a desk wearing a polo shirt. He had a friendly smile and kind eyes. And suddenly, I felt comforted instead of creeped out, and I didn't know what it was. My name is Melton. I founded this site to let people let out a little bit of carnal steam. Tell me about yourself. Oh, this is weird. I don't know you. Okay, I'll begin. I'm married. I'm a father of 2 kids, Jessica and Jenna. I work in management. This is just a side thing. I can assure you, I'm every bit as human as you are. And so, tell me, why do you wish to die, Andrea Becker? Well, at that moment it was like he had spoken to my heart. No one had ever spoken so honestly to me before. It was like having someone see your soul. And at that moment, I thought that this is fate. Peace. I found myself speaking honestly, and even if I regretted it later, I couldn't help it. It was nice to see that someone could read my mind. Or at least it felt like that. I think most of us who are empathetic to the ways of the world feel the same way you do. Yeah, I guess. I sat up straight and leaned into the screen on my laptop. I was beginning to feel much more comfortable than I thought I ever would. It was strange to trust someone on the dark web like this, but there was something about this man. He had a hold over me. I tell you what, we're holding an event tonight at 11, and I hope you will log on to join us to see what we're about to do. I promise it isn't what you think. I'll have to check that out, I said, partially wondering if I wanted to have anything more to do with this man. And the screen went black, and I shut Paul's laptop. I decided to go downstairs to grab a wine cooler out of the fridge. It was almost 10 o'clock and my parents were asleep, so I knew I wouldn't get in trouble. I drank the crappy drink, thinking long and hard about what had transpired and wondering if I wanted to know what went on in this so-called murder show. I was 5 to 11 and my cowardice was in full force, and so I turned on the television. A white van is the suspect in a missing teen's disappearance in Franklin County. Witnesses say they saw young James Madison talking to someone dressed as a clown as he was on his way to school Friday morning. I turned off the disturbing news program, deciding I would see the big deal with this murder show. There could not possibly be any reason for this nice man I had talked to be part of some sympathy murder thing. The screen was still black, and then I saw a small room come into focus. The chat room was coming alive with flower emojis and last-minute thank yous and best wishes from viewers who were donating Bitcoin to the website's owner. And then I saw a man sitting in a chair and typing away at his computer. Something oddly terrifying about it was because the viewers seemed to see it, but the man didn't seem to have anything to do with the viewers, as though he didn't even know he was being watched. I watched as some of the viewers suddenly were also aware of this fact. Rhonda 24. Do you think he even knows that this is the last night on Earth? Dave Telly 45. Nope, that's how it works. Rhonda 24. I know, but I thought he would be more prepared. He has been with us for so long here. Dave Telly 45. He will die soon, but he will be better off. Rhonda 24. No more cheating wife, no more debt, no more anxiety about what tomorrow will bring. Sassy Maria. I'm so happy for him. Dave Telly 45. Me too, girl. Ivan Fist. I hope this one's bloody though. I like them with a little bit of gore. Rhonda 24. I have to admit I do too. Maybe he will get slashed on the throat. Dave Telly 45. I just want our boy to be happy. Ivan Fist. Fuck that. Gore all the way. I read the chat and then watched as the man sitting at his computer seemed to be working on something very intensely, and that is when I heard what sounded like a doorbell ring. The man everyone was watching got up and walked away, I guess to answer the door. And then I heard the sound of someone yelling. A man with a black mask on was soon dragging a man who had just been sitting at a computer in his office. "No, I've changed my mind, please. I don't want to." His throat was slashed in front of the computer. The slash was so deep it nearly decapitated a man who was only moments ago typing away at his laptop. I gasped, watching the scene unfold before me, and then the chat room exploded. Rhonda 24. "Bye, Randy. We will miss you." Unknown. "No, we won't." Dave Telly 45. "So long, Randy. I hope you can now be at peace." Unknown. "Randy will never be at peace now. I hope he rots in hell." Dave Telly 45. "Who is this?" Rhonda 24. "I will miss Randy, but anything will be better than dinner with a cheating wife, too much dead and not knowing what tomorrow will bring. I long for my day to rest." Unknown. "You should just put yourself out of your misery." Dave 45. "Seriously, what the hell? Guy, this is pretty insensitive. We're celebrating the life and death of a warrior." Well, there was some strange interference and I shut off the laptop, unplugging it. I texted Paul to get his stupid laptop and he told me he'll be over tomorrow to get it. And I was sick to my stomach. Had a real-life murder just taken place? I knew without a shadow of a doubt it had. And I was paralyzed with fear, yet oddly jealous. I secretly wished I would be able to feel that peace that Randy had felt. It terrified me, though, to no end. I woke up the next morning and prepared for school. I had strange dreams of people on the computer screen. I had dreams of them talking about me the way they had Randy. And I was sweating when I got out of bed, and I readied myself for school and what a new day would bring. Paul came over after school to get his laptop, and I made sure I didn't mention what happened the night before. I just wanted that website out of my life. Paul seemed unfazed by the fact I had his laptop. He had a few, so what was one going missing? Following that incident, I stayed off my computer as much as possible. And then I had to log on to my own laptop to finish a school project about 2 weeks later. When I logged into my email, there were many messages from a person that called themselves Falcon. "Andrea Becker, this is Falcon. Milton wanted me to let you know that he knows you logged on to watch Randy's transition, and he wanted to see how you were since viewing our little show." I deleted the messages. I didn't want anything to do with these weird people. As I had this thought, I got an instant message from Milton. Milton. "Andrea, I'm sorry you seem alarmed by Randy's transition. Tell me, how did that make you feel? It's okay to feel scared, terrified, sad, angry, or all of the above." I looked at what he was typing, and that same sweet, consoling man made my guard go down. I would have asked him how he got my email, but I already knew that if it was easy for them to get my name, how much harder would it be to get my email? Milton. "Andrea." Me. "Hello, Milton. I don't know how I feel about what I saw. I don't think I want anything to do with this." Milton. "Andrea, talk to me." Me. "I don't know what to say. You killed a man." Milton. "Yes, but he wanted it. We helped him to transition. We can help you." I looked at what he was saying. I had wanted so badly to feel at peace and lose all of my earthly worries. But this was too much and too fast. Me. "I have to go, Milton." Milton. "Andrea Becker, reconsider. You don't have to participate, but we are people that understand you. I read your online diary, your poetry, and I know what you wish for." I was stunned and felt violated. How did they hack into my online diary? It was private thoughts on my blog website I never made public. I was terrified, and then Milton said something else that made me reconsider. Milton. I have seen your interactions with others. We have watched you interact with your friends. We know it wasn't you that initially found our website. We don't care. We welcome you. We only ask that you keep our little secret to help others like yourself and like Randy. I don't know what made me do it, but I began to trust Milton. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel weird about my feelings on death. These people, they seem to understand. Me. I feel so weird talking about it. Milton. It is hard to acknowledge your feelings at first, but once you do, you will begin to understand. Me. There are others like Randy. Milton. We try not to allow too many transitions at once. We give people time to mourn in our community after someone transitions. We have another coming up at the end of the month. This person is yet to be named. Me. How does it work? Milton. We take a vote on who is next. Once the vote is in, the nominee gets contacted through a congratulations email to give them time to tie up loose ends. Then they are not told the day or time of their death. We fear that it would ruin the transition. Me. What if they change their mind? Milton. They are given no way to back out. It is in our clause. If you are on track for transition, which I feel you are, just being a part of our community is an agreement. You have already witnessed a transition, an illegal act, and so you have already agreed to the clause. Me. What about you? Milton. What about me? Me. Can you transition? Milton. I will in time. My agreement was after my children will be old enough to understand. Once they are, then I will join others like Randy and you. Oh, I typed. Milton. I have to go now. It was nice chatting with you. And remember, if you ever need someone to talk to, we are here. We understand how you feel. He logged off the chat and I sat in front of the chat. And then another name popped up. Rhonda24. Hello, Andrea. I didn't respond right away. Rhonda24. I just want to let you know that if you ever need a friend, I'm not much older than you, and I get how you feel. You can reach out to me. Me. Thank you. I have to go for now. Rhonda24. Have a great evening, Andrea. And I logged off the computer. As time wore on, I realized that I enjoyed the community. I had made a few friends within the community. I had several bad days in the last month, and one of them was that I had fallen out with Paul. He was angry with me for spending time online in the transition community, as I had learned to refer to it as. The community helped me overcome some of my anxieties, and so I didn't think much about dying anymore. Or if anything, I wanted to live because I felt relieved that I now had a group to understand how I felt. After all, they felt the same way as me. Then the day came out of nowhere. I was planning my graduation speech, as I had been elected by Mr. Fraser to give my class a short address. I typed, retyping and over-editing everything I was writing when I got a ding on my computer. My email popped up and I recognized the email address. It was from Falcon. Congratulations, Andrea Becker. Your countdown to transition begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, now. I gulped, reading the email because I didn't feel the way I had before. I didn't want to panic. This had to be a mistake. I was no longer depressed. I had things to live for now. Why had they voted on me, transitioning? I saw that Milton was online. Me. Milton, I think you made a mistake. I am the least qualified to transition, especially that I now feel so much better. Crickets could have chirped from the computer. Instead of responding as Milton had hundreds of times before, he ignored me and logged off. This was a nightmare. I stood up, looking around my room. Indeed, I'd have time to graduate. I was at a disadvantage of being home alone. My parents were at some union banquet because my father was on the Teamsters board. I got up from my computer desk, I locked all of the doors and secured the doors. I turned on a radio to think. And there was a story on the radio about a white van and how another child had gone missing. Another witness saw someone dressed as a clown talking to the child. Ugh, not something I needed to know or hear right now. I flipped the station to some soft music, and Sarah McLachlan came on, and so I left it. I needed to think. I logged into the chat and I could see all the congratulations Andrea comments in the chat. Me. Hey guys, I think there's a mistake. Rhonda 24. Congratulations, Andrea. Dave Telly 45. I hope you have the best transition. Unknown. I hope you bleed into the camera for daddy. Me. What? Who would say such a thing? Unknown. I can't wait to cut you from ear to ear. Rhonda 24. Dude, get out of here. I got a private chat request from Rhonda 24. I accepted it. Rhonda 24. Don't sweat it, Andrea. The guy is some weirdo that's been harassing a bunch of us. We can't block him. He has this crazy firewall system. Just please know how happy I am for you and how much we will miss you. I couldn't think of anything else to say. I was about to log off when there was a bang from outside my house. Before I could do anything, a stranger wearing a black mask burst through my bedroom door, and I stood in pure terror and shock. It was happening now. I did the only thing I could think of, and I grabbed my desk chair in front of me and flung it at the stranger. He was tall, thin, and didn't seem to have been prepared for my sudden means of survival. He lurched forward and grabbed me by the throat, and I could feel his large hands trying to suffocate me. I looked over to the computer and saw it had popped back on, all on its own accord. A red light flashed on the screen, and I realized I was being recorded for someone's amusement. The darkness engulfed me in this very moment, and I sprung up, kicking a man in the groin. He growled in pain, and for a moment I had time to run, but for not long before the man stood up and shut my bedroom door, so I had no means of escape. He pulled out a knife from behind him, and I looked around my room to find something else that I could defend myself with. I saw a coffee mug, and grabbing it and throwing it at his head, and to my luck he stopped to rub his head, and I barreled past him towards the door. And then I was caught off guard by a swiping of the knife to my back of my leg, causing me to scream in pain. I hit the ground and he went for my throat with a knife. I rolled over quickly, causing him to stab the floor instead of me. I kicked him in the head this time as he struggled to get the knife out of the wooden floor. He fell to the ground and, for a moment, we both worked with the knife. And finally, I managed to grab it and stab him inside the chest. In the struggle, I was over. Someone had transitioned tonight, but it wasn't me. It wasn't going to be me. I had far too much to live for. I took a deep breath and then took off the mask of the man. And to my utter despair, it was Paul. How had Paul gotten involved with trying to kill me? It all made perfect sense now, how they had all known so much about me. Still, Paul had been my best friend for years. I ran downstairs to find my cell phone and call for 911. And the dispatcher said they would be sending someone as soon as possible. I saw a large white truck coming towards my house, barreling down my street. I jumped into the road, flagging them down, but there was something strange about that truck. I realized when the headlights were no longer blinding my vision that it wasn't the ambulance. I backed up onto the sidewalk and continued to look down the street for the ambulance. And then the truck did something strange. They stopped in front of me, backed up so my view down the road was blocked. And the door to the back of the truck opened up. There were two tall men dressed as clowns. One had blue hair and a red nose with what looked like blood running around his mouth and dirty teeth. He grinned a big grin at me. The other had a red and yellow wig with green makeup. It looked more sinister than any other clown. They stood looking at me, and then circus music began to play. I was annoyed by whatever joke they were trying to play, especially at a time like this. I could hear the ambulance now as it was making its way down my street. I tried to walk around the two stupid clowns. It was all so ridiculous to me. And that is when one of them grabbed me. I screamed for them to let me go. I had to help Paul. And then the other one helped get my legs. And before I knew it, I was no longer breathing. I, Andrea Becker, died that night. I won't bore you with the details. It was gruesome and it was horrid, and I have been missing for 3 years. I hope that someone can see my story and relay what happened to me. I'd like my parents to be able to have peace. We all deserve some peace. I saw the book close on its own then, and there were tears in my eyes as I read the last words of Andrea Becker. I wasn't sure how I could help, but I went over to my computer. There were numerous reports on the sightings of clowns in connection to missing children. I decided to search for the area combining missing person cases from around the region. I didn't know how I was suddenly able to hack into systems using multiple databases, but I was doing it. For Andrea Becker's sake, I was doing it. And that is when I found something very crucial. There were several sightings recently in my neighborhood. There were also 6 missing persons in a 5-mile vicinity. I clicked, I typed, I searched until I put the connections together. In all of the disappeared persons, there were 3 bodies found, and one was of a 17-year-old female. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that it would be the remains of Andrea Becker's young body, and I forwarded the information to the detective working the case. How had they not put it together on their own? I had no idea. I did now have gifts that now help me help those who cannot help themselves. Later that night, there was a break in 3 of the missing person cases. No thanks to me. I was tired after Andrea Becker's story. And that book, it never rests though. Last night, in the middle of the night, I heard music coming from somewhere. It woke me from a dead sleep. I decided to find out what the matter was. It sounded like circus music. I walked into my living room, and parked in front of my house was a white van with clowns in the driver's seat, and I stared at them for a long while, and then opened my front door. The 2 maniacal clowns got out of the back, and as they slowly made their way towards my house, I let out a deep breath, and then I yelled. And I was using my newfound thunderous gift, and the windows to the van all burst. They both held onto their ears as though they were in pain. I had no doubt why they were here. And I heard someone yell, "Help me, please!" And it was a woman. And I became momentarily distracted by the sound of wailing behind me. Sad, painful wailing. I looked away from the clown van towards the read-me book on my couch. When I looked back towards the street, the van with the clowns was now long gone. I would see to it that they were punished, but until then I had other pressing business. I picked up the book, and inside it I read the chapter to the next story. I was the youngest member of the lunatic asylum. Wow, 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 wow. Certainly another one. Wow. What an absolutely interesting, thought-provoking and spine-tingling story this is turning out to be. Of course, a huge thank you to the author, BlackFridaysWitch13, over on Reddit No Sleep, for allowing me to narrate this incredible series. Guys and girls as ever, you know the drill. Please let us know what you thought down below in the comments box. Please do like and share. It really does help build the channel and our community further. And why not hashtag TeamFEAR and DMT's Cryptid Crew. If you're an aspiring writer or would just like to have a crack at things like myself, then please do get in touch with me at the brand new contact email, which is, as on screen, contactthedeadone@gmail.com. I really look forward to hearing from you. As ever guys, I hope you're all well and happy, fighting fit, and taking a fight back to life. But above all, remember, be safe, not sorry.